Hello everybody and welcome to the Chrissy B Show. Now, as you know, Mother's Day is coming up, and technically a mother is a female who's given birth to a child, but a mother is so much more than that. There are teachers throughout our lives, a shoulder to cry on, a source of strength and comfort, and someone who listens and encourages us to be the best that we can be. But sometimes we take our mothers for granted and don't appreciate the time and effort they put into raising us, or acknowledge the amount of sacrifices they have made for us over the years. Being a mother is not an easy task. It's a full-time, lifelong job that takes up time, energy, and patience. And sometimes we forget they're also human beings and have their own internal struggles. So Mother's Day is all about taking the time to let our mothers know we appreciate them and love them very much. So today I'll be speaking to a mum called Julia Tedeschi, who has 2 children and who went through terrible problems in her past, but still managed to raise her 2 sons up. And later on, I'll also be discussing how to make your mum happy, and joining me for that will be Coach Chris Brown. Give us a wave, there you go. Okay, but first let's go to the news with the lovely Helena. Hello,
Hi,
Helena.
Chrissy. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, very well, very well.
We did speak about mums quite recently. Oh, not
We
mums,
did.
women quite recently,
yeah,
didn't we?
International Women's Day, which
Yeah.
was beginning of March, and obviously now excited because it's in a couple of days, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I love Mother's Day.
Do you?
I do. But also Mother's Day is obviously for people that are obviously really your mum, but not to forget about people as well who are carers, siblings, and other people who give motherly love and guidance, which I think is important.
Tell us what you love about your mum.
I love everything about my mum. I do.
Everything,
She's
really?
well, you know, we sometimes have our little bickers and everything, but
Yeah.
she's really selfless. I think I've mentioned before, and she's very caring to everybody. And she guides everything. She's very lovely with animals. She's always rescuing cats and various things, and she's just a lovely person. She always helps, and she's not motivated by money and things like that, which I think is lovely. And I've been brought up like that, so I thank her dearly.
Okay.
My dear mum.
Oh, do you want to give her a shout out? I know you've done this before, but
Kiwi. There's one thing, actually, that's our little sign, Kiwi. It's so funny because there's one little thing that I did for Mother's Day, but I'll mention it later.
you can tell me. Go on.
No, well, I was talking to friends about, what do you do for Mother's Day, and everybody says the same thing, or something with a bit of love and thought's always good. So not necessarily flowers, which are lovely, not necessarily a meal. But there's one thing that I did when I was little, and I think the whole class did. I must have only been about 6 or something, so I was at school. And it was an I love you little sheet. So it was like 10 points I had to put down. So it was I love my mum because she loves me. I love her because she cares. And there were all these things. And it suddenly said, I love my mum because she doesn't give me chocolate biscuits. And everyone was just, thought it was hysterical. But I was brought up like that because it was not to have too much of everything. But it's not really what a 6-year-old would write in an I love you. I know.
But you like your chocolate biscuits now, don't you?
Not too much. Now and then with a coffee.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
What about you?
Oh, my mum's wonderful. She was actually, I always used to sort of be approached by like cousins and friends and stuff and saying things, I wish we had your mum because she's so sweet. And she really genuinely is. Everyone tries to adopt her.
That's lovely.
I also have a really nice mother-in-law. She's wonderful as well. And actually there's a little video with her, so you get to meet her later on too. I've been very blessed to have 2 women like that in my life, really,
I know,
really blessed.
Because there's lots of people that don't have that guidance.
It's true.
And, but they may have other people in their lives, but the social services, etc. I think unfortunately have let people down and still are letting people down. But then there are bigger people out there who we'll talk about in a bit who help, which is lovely, which is really lovely. Just a couple of things that I was looking at, just people that we know, for instance, like Beyonce had put a tweet out. Happy Mother's Day to the women who fight every day for a loving, safe and secure environment for their children. We honour you. But it's sort of very true that a mother would do absolutely anything for their child.
It's true.
Anything. It's true. So for Beyonce to say that, I thought that was pretty good. And Kim Kardashian as well was talking, it was on the other foot. This little girl has changed my world. That's her little girl, obviously. In more ways than I could ever have imagined. Being a mum is the most rewarding feeling in the world. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. I'm not a mum, so I don't know that, but it's nice to hear it from the other side, which is really lovely. Nice.
I'm not a mum either, but I have a cat. I know how I feel about my cat.
And you love everyone around you.
Yes, I do.
You can help other children and adopt them, sort of guide them, I think the word is, isn't it?
That's what I do.
Which is lovely. And all the things to do on Mother's Day as well. Because I think we've discussed in the past that you have all these different dates that we celebrate, and it can be quite money making with the cards and everything. But if you use a bit of love and thought and think about what your mum really likes, it could be a treasure hunt or a picnic.
Well, my mum sprung a surprise visit on me, so she's coming this week.
Nice.
I didn't know, so I haven't planned anything. So now I have to think of something and get my work done before and stuff. So.
Take her somewhere lovely.
She kind of does that. She just sort of books and then she just, I'd like to do something outside. Yeah, she does.
Mind you, she's Cyprus, isn't she? Which is quite enjoyable outside, so it's different. Another mother and another present is rosehip oil, which means recently I did a shoot with the Royals, which is the other day, and Kate Middleton is absolutely blooming. She's quite round now, and she was wearing a pink Alexandra McQueen outfit, which does make me wonder whether it would be a girl, but let's see.
Are you still, she's still debating that?
I'm still debating. But she loves rosehip oil, and I think for mothers to be as well, stretch marks and everything, and it's very, very good for you.
Wasn't that she was having for the morning? No, she was having something else for the morning sickness.
No, that was the tea, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was the tea.
Was it rosehip tea?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well she likes all things rosehip.
She does. So rosehip oil.
She looks like she's a really good mum, doesn't she?
She does. She loves children. I mean, she's a patron of a lot of children's charities, isn't she? Place to Be and things like that. And you can see it's a true empathy that she's got. Queen of Hearts, taken after, I think, Princess Diana, who obviously sadly missed by her boys. But and make an I Love You book. I think that's one of the best ones. That's what I did with obviously my mum when I was younger, which is really nice. But we discussed Mother Teresa, didn't we, last week? Yeah. But she's obviously someone who looked after so many people, the poor, the needy. And I think she was known as the mother of all beings because she gave her life to help and everything, which is fabulous. But somebody who I think is amazing, and I was doing quite a bit of research on, is who's a similar person in a way. I don't know if you know her. She's very gregarious, the lady that wears lots of very brightly coloured clothes and ties curtains around her hair and things like that. She's Camilla Batmangelida, and she's really she's larger than life, but she's absolutely fabulous. And she had a very, very privileged upbringing, a wealthy family, etc. And then her father was taken hostage. Anyway, there's lots of background about her, but she decided at the age of 18 that she'd either have a family or give herself to children and look after them, and she decided to do that. But she doesn't
have children of her own.
She doesn't have a family or children, but she raises so much money for children because who are let down by our general society. And she's a most fabulous woman, and she's set up kids in fact she started Place to Be, Kate Middleton's the patron of, and that's now obviously a huge company, but also kids company. And it's on street level, and it means that people that are really needy, they can go there, they're given a £20 voucher and they can have an evening meal. And she's really brilliant, and she's trained in psychology, so she understands the reasons why people have breakdowns and things. But an amazing woman.
Could you imagine a mum as well that's going through a lot of problems, as we're going to be speaking to Julie after the break? She, that's really helpful. Even like a £20 voucher might not seem much, but someone that doesn't have any food to give to their kids, that's so much stress. It's so much heartache for a mum. Yeah, so to be able to do that's amazing. Yeah.
And the funny thing about her is at the age of 9, she decided that she was going to open an orphanage. That's when she was in Iran, but the Place to Be actually is her orphanage, but it's from a very early age, isn't it, to decide what you're going to do. Yeah. So amazing.
That's really nice.
I think she's good. And the one thing she said, that she was very, very lucky that her gift from her mother was her freedom, that her mum didn't try and control her too much, and as a result she felt very free, and that's the one thing that she was very happy about.
Depends if you've got a good head on your shoulders, because that could also work against you, couldn't it, really, if you give your kids too much freedom.
Yeah, it's a balance, isn't there? She was allowed to dress how she wanted to, and it wasn't stifled.
Wrap things around her head.
Yeah, she really does. Wish we had a picture of her. It'd be great to get her on the show because she really is. She's a character with it, and it helps to obviously raise money. In fact, there's people like Coldplay that donate millions. Really? They don't know about it. They don't want the fame or anything from it, but it's amazing to be able to give that amount of money.
That's really good.
Which is good. So who else? There's loads. There's a poll that's just come out, and in fact, I didn't believe it, but Emma Willis, I'm not sure if you know who she is, but she beat Kate Middleton as a celebrity that most mums want to emulate in their style factor.
She beat her, really?
Yeah, which is quite amazing. But apparently the poll was by Get Paid To. I'm not too sure who they are, but it was a genuine poll. But it did reveal that the Duchess of Cambridge was the #1 style icon for non-mothers. So I'm not quite sure how that works. And that was a bit tricky. That's slightly tricky. But yeah, I mean, there's so many different people. We could talk about everybody. I mean, Princess Diana. I think Angelina Jolie, again, she's a very good one to talk about because she's adopted 3 children and has her own children. But she fights for women's rights and everything. So she's a really powerful figure.
I think we should also give a shout out to all the mums that are unknown.
Yeah,
right? So
absolutely.
let's give a shout out
to
all the mums that,
all mums are celebrities in their own way because their children adore them and love them, and so they are celebrities, aren't they?
So ladies, happy Mother's Day, doing a wonderful job, and keep going, you can do it. Thank you, Helena.
Thank you.
And we'll see you again next time.
Next week.
Thank you. Alrighty, so after the break, we'll be meeting Julie Tedeschi and talking to her about her really difficult experience in motherhood. So join us after this.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Chrissy B Show, always aiming to show you the happier side of life. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back. Now, before we hear Julie's story and her struggles with motherhood, let's take a look at some of your Mother's Day dedications.
Would you like to say anything to your mum to give her a shout out on the show for Mother's Day?
You're the best mum ever.
Let's give her a hug. Okay.
My mum's very good. She's caring and loving to us. She gives us what we want, and she also cares for us and loves us all from the bottom of her heart.
Every time we're down, she helps us go up. She's the reason that we're here today. Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.
Yes, Box One.
That would be really nice. My mom passed away when I was very young, but I would say shout out to all my female aunties who have been my mom from a very, very young age. Thank you so much for being there for me.
Thank you for everything you've done for me and just being there.
Yes, happy Mother's Day from all of us, including myself.
Alrighty, thank you for your dedication. So now it's time to meet Julie Tedeschi. Hello, Julie.
Hi, Chris.
How are you?
I'm good.
So nice to meet you. It's great to have you on the show. So I know, Julie, you've been through basically to hell and back, really. And you are a mum of 2 sons. That's Michael and Simon. Actually, I'm married to Michael as well.
Yes.
So we've got that in common. So where did all things start to go wrong for you?
When I was young, I was about 5-6 years old. I was sexually abused by a trusted family friend. And I went into myself then. Became very quiet, wouldn't mix with anybody, and I excelled at school.
Do you have siblings?
No, I'm an only child.
Okay.
I excelled at school, but I couldn't mix with anybody. I didn't trust anybody. There was no trust ever since I was a child. Since then.
So you already didn't have sort of that those people at home with you other children to play with, and then when you're at school.
No.
Then you didn't mix with anyone.
No.
Must
at
have been
school
very
I was
lonely.
fine. I was fine at school. But going home as an only child, there were adults, and yes, everyone was an adult.
Okay. So then how did life progress for you after that? Did you tell anyone about what happened to you?
I didn't, not until I was about 39. I broke down one day at work.
Really?
I worked for an alcohol rehabilitation unit, and I was an alcoholic at the time.
Hold on, let's rewind. So how first of all did you get to work there if you were yourself an alcoholic?
I was the administrator.
Okay.
So I was working in the office, but there were times when I had to mix with the residents, and they were trying to stay dry, but I used to go to work drunk. I was always drunk.
Didn't anyone see that though?
No.
No, how did you get away with that?
I used to use a lot of perfume,
Oh.
mouthwashes.
Yeah, you can actually mistake mouthwash or alcohol for mouthwash for alcohol, can't you? Because it smells quite similar.
Yes.
There is alcohol basically in mouthwash, isn't it?
Yes, so...
But why were you drinking, Julie?
Several things that happened in life as I grew up. I came from an alcoholic family anyway.
Oh, right.
My mum's relatives were all alcoholics. And
Was it seen as normal then, like
It
in your
was,
family?
yes.
Was it like a big deal if people were drunk
No.
and...
No, everyone drank, but they didn't see it as a problem. Now we know it's a problem, but then they were drunk most days.
Really?
But they carried on working. It doesn't make sense. They would carry on working and work efficiently too. But it was a problem. They couldn't stop drinking. As a teenager, I didn't drink, but then when I left school to go to college, my friend, she was an alcoholic. So I couldn't get away from alcoholism.
Okay.
And I started drinking with her. And it just escalated. Then I got married to an alcoholic.
Oh dear. So you just didn't escape from it then, did you?
No.
Now, did you know he was an alcoholic, obviously, when you...
There again, it wasn't a problem. In those days, it wasn't a problem. You just drank. You went to the pub, you drank, and you enjoyed yourself. You went home, slept, woke up the following day, went to work, drank at night, go home. It was a
just
cycle.
Like, so it didn't affect anything? Okay, I know it didn't say it didn't affect your work, as far as you know, because maybe you don't remember half of it. But did it not affect anything?
Well, my work, they didn't have problems with my work.
I find that amazing.
I know, it
doesn't
doesn't make sense,
Yeah.
but I did do very well at work. They didn't have problems with my work.
What about your relationship, though? How was that?
With my second husband, because he was an alcoholic, I was trying to keep up with him, going to the pub with him regularly, drinking. I'd take my children over to my parents at the weekend, and then we'd start from Friday night until Sunday night.
Now, you mentioned your children here. Now, did you not think at any stage that this is a really unhealthy environment for my two boys? Or was it just...
No, it was just normal.
Really?
It seemed normal because because of the abuse that I had, I didn't allow them to go anywhere else apart from at home with me.
Oh, you were afraid in case the same thing
Yes, I didn't send them anywhere. I kept them tight to me. The only place they went was to my parents, and that was it. So I'd take them to school, I pick them up from school, I'd bring them at home, leave them there safely, and just got on with drinking.
Wow. Now, did you notice anything in them, though? Were they did they ever say anything to you, or did they ever bring up as though it was a problem, or did they get used to it as well?
I think because they were born into drinking, it was normal. Everything just seemed normal. If you're born into it, it's normal.
Okay. So, Julie, I know obviously in terms of the alcoholism, you didn't see it as an issue, you didn't see it as a problem, but then other things started to happen in your life. Can you tell us about that before we go to the break?
Well, after my marriage broke down, I got depressed. Severely depressed. I sought help from psychiatrists, psychologists, and other people, but nothing helped. It brought on suicidal thoughts as well because I couldn't sleep, and I used to drink to sleep. I'd take sleeping tablets and alcohol to sleep, but I'd still wake up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the mornings, terrified.
What were you
for no
terrified
reason.
of?
I couldn't say. It was
Really?
an inner terror. The terror was inside. I wasn't afraid of people. I'd get aggressive with people, especially if they looked at my children in a funny way. I'd get aggressive. I was very aggressive. And I wasn't afraid of anybody.
Understandably, you were overprotective because of
Yes.
what had happened to you.
Yeah.
So you were very like aggressive towards people if they even looked
Yes.
at your sons in a
Yeah.
way that you thought wasn't normal.
Yes.
Did you ever get into fights with people?
Not really. Once I
Not
nearly
really,
did.
once.
Once, even the gentleman told my son Michael that your mum's crazy because I don't know, he was speaking to Michael and I probably got it wrong and I thought he was telling Michael off. So I attacked him.
You attacked
Not
him?
physically,
Okay.
not physically. But the rage was there to do it.
Okay.
But
So
I
it's
held
like you were
back.
like a ticking time bomb, really, weren't you?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Now, when you say you were depressed, how severe did that depression get for you? And did you try to do anything else about it?
Yes, I did try. I took a lot of painkillers once.
To end your life?
Yes. And it didn't work. They took me to the hospital, they pumped my stomach out, it was awful.
They pumped your stomach?
Yeah. I thought I'd never do that again. But the thoughts were still there. Kill yourself, but kill the children first. Don't leave them to suffer with anybody.
Wow.
And that was almost every day.
Really? Did you ever really have a strong urge to actually take their life at any point?
When Michael was about 2 years old, I realized that I had a pillow over his face.
Wow.
And I kind of woke up. I wasn't asleep, but it wasn't me. I was watching myself do it. It wasn't me. And I dropped the pillow, ran out of the room.
So when you say it wasn't you, it was you physically, but it's like, do you mean like you didn't sort of recognize yourself doing something like that?
No, it was as though someone was steering me to do it. It was, I was watching myself do it, but I couldn't help myself.
Okay.
But then I kind of snapped out of it and dropped the pillow and ran out of the room. And stayed out of the room.
Julie, you're going to stay with us because we're going to hear more about your story and how you struggled as a mum, but also how you turn things around for yourself. All right, so do join us after this.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Chrissy B Show, always aiming to show you the happier side of life. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back, everyone. So we've been speaking to Julie, who's a mother of two, about some very serious struggles that she had. She was an alcoholic, but didn't see it as a problem. She tried to take her own life and was rushed to hospital, had her stomach pumped. She was severely depressed. What else? You had so many problems, didn't you? You haven't even touched on some of the other things that happened. You were also very unwell, weren't you? Can you tell us about that?
Deep vein thrombosis, where my blood was very thick. And I had to take warfarin, which is rat poison, to thin my blood.
Okay.
So that went on for years. And because my leg, all the veins in my leg had been blocked, they said that if anything else happened, they'd have to amputate the leg. So that was the lowest point in my life.
Wow.
When I was told that.
How were you, because obviously you're going through all these problems, and actually there's another issue that you had that some people might be unfamiliar with and only sort of hear about things or see things like this in Hollywood films. But you had something that some people describe, a psychologist I think describe as night terrors. Can you describe that?
Night terrors is something that you feel. There's no one in the room, there's no one on the bed with you, but you feel someone on the bed with you. You feel them touching you and even having sex with you, but you see no one. There's
so
nothing
can
tangible.
Feel a body there.
You can feel touches, you can hear breathing, but there's no one there.
Now this obviously doesn't sound, it sounds a bit crazy to people that are watching probably right now that haven't been through something like that, but it is actually quite common because I have heard other people talking about these things.
I've spoken to people who've had that as well. Yes, and
so that must have been terrifying.
Yes, I used to think no one would believe this is happening to me, so I didn't speak to anyone about it.
So you'd never been assessed or anything by a mental health expert?
When I went to see one psychiatrist, he said that it's between sleep and wake, you know, that limbo period?
Yeah.
That's when it feels like when just before you fall asleep. And there's nothing wrong with that.
But it was scaring you.
It was. It made me want to drink more.
Which did you?
Yes.
Okay.
So that I couldn't feel when that was happening to me. I couldn't experience when that's happening. So I would drink 3. There's a tablet called Nitol where you could sleep, and I would take neat brandy or neat vodka, anything neat with it. But I'd still wake up at about 3 o'clock in the morning in terror.
Wow. Now, Julie, while all of this was going on, obviously you had 2 sons to take care of. How were you actually coping, bringing them up and trying to get them through school and all of this stuff? How did you manage that?
Well, during the day, many mornings I'd wake up, I'd be sick, going to the bathroom, be sick, because I've had so much to drink. And I'd carry through the day, get them up, get them to school, go to work as well, pick them up from school, come home, start drinking. Once they were indoors and they were safe, as far as I was concerned, I'd drink.
So you still managed to have that responsibility
Yes.
as a mother, even with all of that stuff going on, in a sense.
I had my parents as well. They did help. A very loving mum, and she was very, very caring. And my stepfather, they helped with the children. Because when my marriage broke down, I was left on my own, and they took over. They helped.
Okay. Now, Julie, we're going to go into your story now about how, because you did turn things around and what you're doing today. But first, I did tell the viewers that I would show you a video and introduce you to my mother-in-law, who is also a lovely, lovely person. So let's take a look at this. Yes, everybody, as you can see from the video, Julie is actually my wonderful mother-in-law, and I have to say she is amazing. Hello, Mummy. Are you okay? Yes. I do call her Mummy. It's been hard to sit there and sort of call her Julie this time. Now, Mum, I know you, obviously you got help for all the problems that you were going through. You went to help centre, you got practical advice, spiritual help through prayers and counselling, all sorts of things, and you did turn your life around. And I know for a fact that you are now a wonderful mum. I'm going to cry, I can't believe it. You are a really great mum. And I have to say, I'm very, very proud to have you as my mother-in-law. Because
As my daughter-in-law.
I didn't expect to cry on the show today. I don't know why I'm crying, sorry. But I know what you've been through, because I actually remember a time when, do you mind if I say this?
Yep.
She basically, I ended up, by the way, I moved into her house and she didn't even realise. I moved in a double bed into her house, into her son's room, and she didn't even realise I'd moved in. And I was telling Michael, please, can you just tell her I've moved in because I feel really bad? He goes, oh, she won't mind. And when he told you, did you even realise I'd come in and like moved all my clothes and my bed? And she didn't realise, bless her. But it's like we hit it off as soon as we met, didn't we?
Yeah, family straight away.
But I saw all the issues that she had, and it was terrible. I had my own issues as well. I was depressed at the time as well.
Yes.
She was depressed, but somehow we still managed to have a really good relationship with all that was going on in our lives. But I remember her waking up sometimes screaming with pain because you used to have those terrible the clots and the cramps in her legs. I remember her one day just falling in drunk, completely drunk, and then vomiting in the bathroom sink, and then Michael had to clean it up. Falling over, sometimes she had bruises on her, and and it was just, your life was a mess. It really was a mess. Yes. But today, tell the viewers about how your life is today.
Today, well, I no longer have a health problem with deep vein thrombosis, and I'm no longer depressed, don't want to kill myself, and I've got 2 lovely sons and a daughter-in-law that I love very much. I'm a parent.
So you're happy today?
Very, very happy.
No more night terrors?
No.
What about the drinking?
No. Oh. Someone came on the bus this morning who had a drink, and I felt a bit sick.
So even the smell of alcohol makes you feel ill?
Yeah.
I can imagine. And I have to say, I remember actually both of us getting drunk together. We had a table full of drinks, remember that day, mixing them, trying to drown our sorrows, saying we were having fun, but really we were like...
But I was the one who introduced you to drinking.
Yes, you were a bad influence.
Yes. I used to force you to drink.
But it helped at the time. But it kind of made me forget a little bit. But then obviously, with the alcohol, it kind of numbs the pain for a while. But then our issues were still there after we'd finished drinking and we'd finished dancing and messing around. But the issues were still there. So we weren't dealing with the problems. Yeah. But, it's funny because even though we had all those issues, like I said, we still got on, and then we both got help for our problems, and we get on like a house on fire still. Yes. As I said before, I'm very, very blessed to have someone like this as a mum-in-law. I feel like I call her mum because she's just like a second mum to me. You are. Yeah. And that relationship that you've rebuilt with your sons as well is amazing.
Yes.
They love you too much. And actually, people try to steal you away, don't they? Everyone calls you mum.
Yeah, quite a few people.
Yeah. So, Mum, I love you very much, and thank you so much for coming on the show. I love her. Okay. All right, guys. So it's time to go to a break and get myself together again. And we have on Coach Chris Brown after this.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Chrissy B Show. Always aiming to show you the happier side of life. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back, everyone, and this is our Mother's Day show. So we did meet my lovely mum-in-law Julie before the break, and when we talked about the problems. But now we have Coach Chris Brown with us to talk about ways we can make our mums happy.
Make our mums happy for Mother's Day. Hi, Chrissy. How are we doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, it was great. Listen, brilliant.
Oh,
yeah,
that's very
got us all going back there. We're all like, I was going to get my hanky out too.
Oh, she's lovely. She's wonderful. So tell us about your mum, Chris.
My mum, well, funny enough, I'm sure this is going to relate to a lot of people coming up to Mother's Day. Sadly, my mum passed away, yes? Mm-hmm. But the thing about this time, this period, where a lot of people are like, we're celebrating Mother's Day and everybody's happy, there's going to be people who either haven't got a mother or lost their mother. Yeah. Now, what I would actually say to people in that situation, because my mother was great, she looked after me and my sisters so well. We had such fun. She was a friend as well, as my mother respected. Yeah. Things I've learned up to today, it was mainly my mother. My father wasn't there at the time, right? It was mainly my mother. And at a time of Mother's Day, it's a time to actually celebrate and think of funny things that happened. I remember I used to work all over the UK, and I used to be in Newcastle. And if I knew by the weekend, my mother was going to make chicken roti, yes, right.
His favourite.
Yeah, I'll jump on that train, I'll go down there, and I'll be there for the weekend, eat, and then I'll go back up. Now, I remember these things, and they're fun instead. You know, I don't look at it and say, oh, well, this, that, and the other, and feel sad about it. I start looking at the humorous things as well, which is good. I'll say to people who've actually lost their mother around this time, celebrate. Celebrate the good things as well.
Exactly.
And find a member of the family that you can actually share with and talk about it as well at the same time.
It helps,
it's
doesn't
time.
it? And even if you don't, like you said, even if you didn't grow up with a mum or something happened, you're an orphan, for example, there are other mothers that you can admire, like mother figure, maybe an auntie that's been really kind to you, or an older sibling, or someone. There's always someone that you can use this day to celebrate.
And I'll say that to the mothers out there, the mothers who are out there and they've got many children, there's somebody you know who hasn't, go and find them. You know, go and make somebody else a mother as well at the
Just
end
get
of the
someone
day.
to adopt you. Take you under
adopt
the
you,
wing.
say, oh, orphan, come and adopt me. You know, great, honestly. You know, it's not as grim as bad as people actually think in that sort of way. Mother's Day, celebrate it, because our mothers do a lot for us at the end of the day. The nurturing, the bringing up, the caring, endless loving.
Dealing with the headaches that we give them.
I was going to say, when I was a little kid, I weren't that easy. So, you know.
I was good as a child, but as a teenager, I was a complete nightmare.
It's terrible, isn't it?
Complete. But shall we talk about some things now that make mums happy? So we've got a few points to discuss with you and with the viewers at home, and Chris is going to help me here. So the first thing that mothers do love is when you spend time with them. So they might not necessarily want the flowers and the usual chocolates and stuff, because sometimes we get so busy, don't we, Chris? Work and all sorts of things. That's what I'm talking about if you're an older child. And maybe you think, oh, it's a good idea, just send her some flowers in the post and that's okay. But I think what she would absolutely love is if you took a day off, you know, forgot about everything else, forgot about your work, put away your mobile phone and everything else, and just spend that quality time with your mum. Take her out somewhere, do something nice with her.
Quality time makes a difference. Being able to talk about things that you never spoke about as well, that would be great. It's time for sharing, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so we've got another point here as well. Tell her the things that you appreciate about her. Now, I know for a fact that mums feel very guilty. My own mother, for example, she is absolutely wonderful, but anything that I went through, especially when I had the mental health issues, she would blame herself.
Right.
She'll blame herself, oh, if I'd been more like this, if I'd been more like that. And I said, Mum, it wasn't your fault. It's something that just happened. You don't need to blame yourself. But mothers have this natural tendency of feeling guilty about everything. So if you tell them the things, you know, tell Mum, look, you know, you didn't do a bad job, you did a great job, look at me today, okay, I might have some problems, but it's not your fault. And then tell her the things that you appreciate about her.
Yeah, it's like setting
like
someone
as Helena
free.
was saying about in the thing.
Well, it's saying a while ago, because it's showing someone you actually appreciate and setting them free from what's been holding them. And as you said, mothers do automatically feel that way, isn't it?
Yeah. And they don't need to. They do so much good.
No. You are who you are because of them.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Oh, now before we get to the next point, let's take a look at this video of what mums appreciate about their kids.
Do you have children?
Yes.
No, I don't have children myself, but I spend all day with children because I'm a teacher, primary teacher. And also I have a nephew, so I spend a lot of time with kids.
And what do you appreciate most about your children?
It's everything.
Everything? Even the bad?
Everything, the bad, the good, everything.
Well, what I really like about them, what melts my heart every time I see it, when another child, they hurt themselves or something happens, they're upset because of a reason, and then you see them with how they go to help each other. And they just go, they hug each other, and they say very nice words, without the need of any adult to go and say something.
They're loving, caring, fulfill our lives as a parent. It's just, I think without the children, the family is incomplete.
I appreciate when they ask me to go to the toilet before they actually do. What else do we appreciate, Noonie? Look where.
I am a lady, no? And I'm a beautiful girl.
Yes, you are. You are.
I appreciate things like that. I appreciate watching them learn and giggle and be proud of themselves for things that they discover.
And a lady and I'm a beautiful girl. She's so cute. All right.
Secure.
Very good. It's nice when parents, obviously her parents tell her that all the time for her to have that confidence.
It's good for her self-esteem when she grows
it's
up.
lovely. It's really nice.
Keep it in check.
All right, so let's go to another point now that mums, would make mum happy is if you actually understand her. Now, as we saw with my mum-in-law's story earlier, she was basically going through hell, and maybe there's stuff that you don't know about your mum, things that she's been through, things that happened in her life that she hasn't opened up and spoken to you about because maybe she wants to protect you. So sometimes, you might sort of look at her and think, oh, she's not like the best mum in the world and she's not like so-and-so's mum. But you need to appreciate your mum anyway and understand her, because maybe she's not feeling well. Maybe she's, like I said, she's been through issues in her life. Maybe she's just having a bad day. I'm not excusing, obviously, any bad behaviour like abuse or anything like that. That's a whole different kettle of fish. But I'm talking about everyday things that people go through, that maybe she's sort of maybe a bit grumpy sometimes, but it's still no reason to not appreciate her.
Well, it's not appreciating, but the thing when she's grumpy and all that, she doesn't really want to pass it over to the children, so she tends to hold it back, and it comes out in another way.
Yeah.
I mean, I myself, I can actually remember situations like that, and not actually understanding at the age I was, not understanding what my mother actually went through in bringing us up and surviving and getting through. As time went on, and especially after my mother passed, I realised, wow, she went through all that for us. She did this, and you start to appreciate more. And you think, well, we should appreciate more at time, to be honest,
Yeah.
But we've got to try and understand people overall.
Yeah,
it's better.
She does. She does go through difficult times, and
mothers do.
Being a mum on top of everything is not easy at all, is it? So show that you understand her. You know when she's tired and she needs a bit of time alone and stuff like that. So try and help her out in that sense. And just went to my other point: help her out at home if you can, because that is. And I'm not just talking about sort of housework, or that's a big load off her shoulders. But even financially, because I remember myself, I was terrible. I was a nightmare when I was a teenager, first of all, because I was going through those issues. But also, I think I was working, I had a gap year and I was working, and I don't remember giving anything to my mum or my parents.
Right.
And I always regret that. I don't know what happened to me. I was so selfish, and I just didn't give them anything. And, something like that, although they didn't ask me, my mum never asked me for money or anything like that, but what's the problem in at least offering to help out? So if you're at home and you're working, please give something to your parents. Help them out in something. Buy some groceries. It's something.
Important. It is important to help out as well, because they've struggled a long time bringing us up. And I actually went through that same thing, similar to yourself. And I looked at it, and later on, part of the way I did, I was selfishness, very selfish. Got to get this, got to get that, got to get this, and then I did. I did later on. There you go with snap. Right, I did later on, but it's funny. But talking about buying things as well, this time of year of Mother's Day, and there's people who haven't really got anything to actually give or can't afford to. Do you know the best thing to do is when you make something? It sounds really silly, but you think about a child, when they make something out of craft and make it and give it to you, you keep for the rest of their life. You make something that everybody else has got, or you buy it from the shop, you keep it, appreciate your time, then it goes at the same time. So it's really important, and helping out is key. Yeah. You'll remember that for a lifetime. So don't do what we did. Yeah?
Don't be selfish like we were. We were naughty.
Yeah, terrible.
Right. Sorry, Mum. All right, Chris, thank you so much.
Pleasure, Chrissy.
Great having you on, and we'll see you again next week.
Thank you.
All right, guys, so we have reached the end of today's programme, but if you want more information, you can visit the website chrissybshow.tv. And also, I have a personal website, which is mylifeafterdepression.com, so you can go there and find out more about me. So, guys, we're going to go now. So do have a wonderful Mother's Day, and remember to appreciate your mum. And also, if you're a mum, you deserve pampering because you're doing a great job. See you again next time. Bye-bye for now.